recently had somebody tell me that they measured themselves by me, that they seen me as super mom, and they did not feel like they could keep up. And I was quick to remind them that they cannot do that. They can't compare themselves to me because, first of all, we're in different seasons of life. Second, they're not me, and I'm not them. They have things in their lives that I'm not capable of doing, because that's the way God designed us. He designed each of us to be unique and to have unique talents and abilities. There are quite a few people who tell me that they don't know how I do it with 7 kids. I don't know how I do it either. I tell everybody it's God and caffeine, but I don't drink a lot of caffeine anymore, so it's just God. But you can't look at yourself and compare yourself to what somebody else can do, because you're not them. The Bible says for us not to compare ourselves among ourselves. It's not wise, is what the Bible says. And why is it not wise? Because when you're comparing yourself to somebody else, what you're doing is you're basically comparing an apple to an orange. Completely different people, completely different substances. You are not a clone of anybody else. Now, I have been totally guilty of this myself. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at somebody, especially their ministry or their family, and I'm like, my marriage will never be like that, or my kids will never, be able to do what their kids are doing, or I'll never be able to accomplish what they're accomplishing in their ministry. Like, that's not me. I'm not going to be able to do that. And the truth is, I'm probably not, because I'm not called to that. I'm called to my own ministry. I'm called to my own things. I'm called to my own marriage. I'm called to raise my own children, and they're called to do their own things. They're not called to be like anybody else's kids. It really bothers me when I hear people say, well, my kid's not like your kid, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, and your kid's not going to be. They're not going to be. Your kids are going to make their own mistakes, and my kids are going to make their own mistakes. It's not wise to compare, because none of us are made exactly identical. Now, the flip side of that, it's not good to compare as well, because you don't know the whole story. So somebody looking from the outside, they might think I'm super mom. They might think I have it all together. I do not, by the way, just to let you know. Spoiler alert. But they don't know the struggles that I've went through. They don't know the times that I can't hardly get out of the bed. They don't know the times when I struggle to find the energy to take a shower because I'm battling depression. Now, that hasn't happened in a while, but it has been issues before. There have been times when I've yelled at my kids and I wished I hadn't. There's been times when I didn't get everything done, and every day I don't get everything done. I've learned to just live with it. There were times when I let everything bother me. My kids weren't up to the certain standard, or I hadn't taught them this, or I felt like I was failing, especially as a homeschool mom. But I can't do that. And I've just learned through age and experience that some things I just have to let go. Like, if we're having a bad day, we're going to take a break and we're going to do something different. We're going to change the pace, put on some worship music, dance, or go outside, because I've learned that I don't have to sweat the small stuff. I set the tone for my house. That doesn't make me super mom. That makes me a mom who's made a lot of mistakes and who has been the one who's lost her cool more times than she'd like to admit. I'm the wife who has shunned her husband because she was having a bad day and just didn't have the energy to deal with him. I'm not perfect. And when we look at somebody, another person, and we're comparing and seeing how we measure up to them, what we're basically doing is we're only looking at half the picture. We're only looking at the Facebook or the Instagram profile. We're only looking at what they want us to see. Now, I don't care to show you the bad parts of my life, because I want you to know I'm human. But it's not what I'm going to put out there out front. And honestly, we see what we want to see. So if you're looking at somebody else and you're comparing yourself to them and you're feeling like you're falling short, you're going to see them in a greater light than what they actually are, because you're looking to be less, if that makes sense. So if I'm comparing myself to somebody else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to only look at the good in them and only look at the bad in me. And it's going to make me be wanting. It's going to make me be less than. Because that's what we do. We look for what we want to see. So I challenge you today, if that's where you're at, if you're comparing yourself to somebody, stop first. Take a deep breath and look at your own life. Look at your own self. Find something that you can celebrate that you've done right. And don't tell me there's nothing, because there is. If you woke up this morning, check, you did something right. If you made breakfast for your kids, check, you did something right. If you got dressed, woohoo, that's a big yeehaw, because a lot of people run around in their pajama pants nowadays. And I'm not down in that either, because I totally understand. So celebrate your small wins and start to see yourself the way God sees you, as fearfully and wonderfully made in His image. And His image means you're not made to be in anybody else's image or to be compared to anybody else. And He thinks you are absolutely amazing. So walk in that today. I challenge you, stop putting yourself down and start seeing yourself in a better light.